Margaret always believed that life had a way of preparing you for the moments that would later define you. Now in her late 50s and settled into a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood in a small Midwestern town, she had weathered many storms and celebrated countless small victories. Her modest, white-painted house with a wraparound porch was a testament to decades of memories, a life lived fully yet quietly. Each morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon and cast a gentle glow on the dew-kissed grass, Margaret took a slow walk down the winding sidewalk. She always carried a book in one hand and a bouquet of wildflowers in the other, a small ritual of kindness both to herself and to the neighbors who greeted her with warm smiles. It was on one such morning that fate introduced her to a stray dog sitting patiently by an old oak tree just off the sidewalk. The dog, a medium-sized mutt with a patchwork coat of greys, whites, and hints of brown, watched her with eyes that held both weariness and a curious spark of hope. The creature's posture suggested it had been through hardships too. Margaret, who had long cherished the idea that every soul, be it human or canine, carries its own narrative of pain and perseverance, felt an immediate tug on her heart. "Hello there," Margaret said softly, crouching down to the dog's level. The dog's ears perked up, and its eyes softened. In that instant, the two understood that they were kindred spirits, each carrying scars, yet yearning for connection and warmth in a world that sometimes seemed too vast and indifferent. Over the next few days, Margaret returned to the oak tree at dawn, slowly earning the animal's trust. She offered bits of bread and small sips of water, and in return the dog would wag its tail gently and follow her for a while on her walk. She eventually took the dog home, a humble act of kindness that turned into a mutual rescue. She named him Charlie, a name that resonated with simplicity and strength. The early bond was delicate, like freshly sprouted roots searching for stability in a new soil. Margaret and Charlie became inseparable. As she read her morning passages aloud, Charlie would rest his head on her lap, listening as if absorbing every emotion conveyed in her gentle, even tones. Their days soon filled with quiet companionship, thoughtful pauses, and a deep understanding that surpassed spoken language. In those early moments, Margaret was unaware that Charlie's arrival was not merely a twist of fate, but rather the beginning of a lifelong journey of healing, a journey that would lead her to confront her own hidden grief and rediscover joy in the simplest of daily moments. With Charlie by her side, Margaret's life began to blossom in unexpected ways. But old memories have a way of resurfacing. In quiet moments, the soft hum of a refrigerator at midnight, the distant sound of children laughing, the weight of past sorrows crept in. She recalled the loss of her husband, Robert, many years ago. Their life together had been a tapestry of shared dreams, hardships, and laughter. His sudden passing had left an aching void in her heart, one that time seemed unable to fully mend. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of amber and rust, Margaret took her usual walk with Charlie trotting faithfully at her side. She passed by the old park where she had once danced with Robert during a summer fair, his laughter echoing in every heartwarming memory. Today, however, the park was quieter, shadows lengthening in the late afternoon light. Seated on a faded wooden bench was an older gentleman who had clearly known pain. His eyes, reminiscent of a well-worn novel, were fixed on something in the distance. Margaret hesitated a moment, then, with Charlie's gentle nudge urging her on, she approached the man. "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" she ventured in a soft, hesitant tone. The gentleman's gaze turned to the pair. A thin smile formed as he replied, "It is. Sometimes you find light in the most unexpected places." His words, simple yet profound, stirred something in Margaret's soul. Over the next few weeks, that old man named Henry became a companion on those walks. With each meeting, they shared stories of loss, resilience, and the quiet miracles found in everyday moments. Henry, too, had once known the companionship of a beloved pet, and like Margaret, he found solace in these shared recollections. Margaret began to realize that Charlie had inadvertently knit together a tapestry of community and shared experiences. His unspoken presence bridged gaps between strangers and allowed wounded hearts to connect. She would smile as she watched Henry's eyes light up when Charlie approached. In that gentle canine grin, every soul found a reminder of things that mattered most: unconditional love, loyalty, and the ability to forgive life's harsh edges. One day, while sipping hot tea by her kitchen window and watching the world outside, Margaret pondered on the paradox of loss and healing. How had life, with all its heartbreak, the death of her love, and the ache of solitude, led her here to a place where every struggle bore the promise of renewal? And how had a stray dog, with eyes that had seen too much sorrow, rekindled her fading hope. She decided to start a small journal, not just to document her days, but to capture the silent wisdom of her soul, a collection of thoughts and memories interwoven with the presence of Charlie. The pages soon filled with words that echoed her intimate dialogue with the past and her eagerness to embrace the future. There were entries full of reminiscence of dance steps shared with Robert, pages that chronicled the soft murmurs exchanged with Henry during their park conversations, and at the very heart of it, lines dedicated to Charlie, the gentle reminder that true companionship can heal even the deepest wounds. Every night, as Margaret closed her journal, she felt a quiet gratitude for the love and comfort that Charlie had brought into her life. It was as if fate had arranged every piece perfectly, the return of a kind soul to mend a fractured heart, the presence of a loyal friend, and the unexpected camaraderie with kindred spirits who quietly acknowledged the pain of loss. In this slow, reflective rhythm of life, every moment pulsed with quiet courage. Spring arrived with a burst of color and a refreshing sense of new beginnings. Margaret's neighborhood transformed into a living canvas of green lawns, blooming flowers, and the joyful buzz of community. In this vibrant season, the bond between Margaret and Charlie only deepened. They became a familiar sight, a graceful woman and her steadfast companion, strolling through neighborhoods and parks, sharing smiles and stories with passers-by. Margaret's daily routines grew richer, punctuated by moments of gratitude for life's small wonders. Early one morning, while taking a leisurely walk along a winding country road, she spotted a young couple in distress beside their car. The vehicle had broken down, and they were stranded with uncertain hope. Without hesitation, Margaret stopped and offered help. As she checked on the couple, Charlie's bright eyes observed every movement, his presence lending calm assurance. The couple, visibly relieved, explained that they were on their way to visit family for the first time in years. Margaret, with empathy and quiet wisdom, shared a snippet of her own story, the loss of her partner and the long road of healing that had led her here. Her words, soft yet sincere, resonated deeply with them. In the ensuing conversation, the couple found not just a stranger's help but a newfound perspective on the unexpected turns of life. In that moment, as they shared hopeful smiles, Margaret understood that every experience in life, joy, sorrow, and the in-between served as a lesson in resilience and love. Charlie, ever the silent observer, reminded her that loyalty was not just about constant companionship, but also about being present when life demanded the smallest acts of kindness. The incident reaffirmed her belief that every meeting, every minor interaction, was a thread in the fabric of human connection. Back home, as the days grew longer and filled with the songs of birds and the rustle of leaves, Margaret's journal began to compile a mosaic of the neighborhood's shared stories. She wrote about Henry's unexpected acts of kindness, about the young couple whose gratitude lit up a cold winter morning, and about the enduring legacy of a man who had once believed that life, in its quiet cruelty, needed gentle reminders of its beauty. Margaret's heart, once heavy with sorrow, began to feel lighter as she let go of the need to control every outcome. The dog at her side, with his unassuming loyalty, taught her that trust in life came in many forms. It was found in the rustling of the trees, in the soft hum of morning conversations, and in the eyes of those who had loved and lost. The lessons she learned from Charlie transcended words. They were felt in the warmth of a hand, the smile of a stranger, and the silent support of those who shared the weight of memory. Each evening, as twilight spread its gentle hues across the sky, Margaret would sit on her porch with Charlie nestled beside her. They would silently watch the dance of fireflies and listen to the murmurs of the night. In that quiet magic of dusk, she realized that living fully did not mean erasing the sorrow of the past. It meant embracing every part of life, sorrow and joy alike, with a heart wide open to the perpetual possibility of new beginnings. Years had passed since Margaret first found Charlie by that old oak tree, and each day had woven a rich tapestry of memories that spoke of resilience, trust, and quiet beauty. With every sunrise came the opportunity to honor the past while stepping steadily into a future filled with promise. The house on the corner was now not only a sanctuary of memories, but also a beacon of hope for those who might be wandering through life's uncertainties. One mild summer evening, as Margaret sat by her favorite window watching the gentle sway of the trees, she reflected on the journey that had brought her here. In her heart, she felt the enduring presence of those she had loved, Robert's warm laughter echoing through cherished memories, Henry's quiet wisdom echoing in every conversation, and now the steady, unspoken devotion of Charlie, who had redefined the meaning of companionship. It was on that evening that a letter arrived, a handwritten note from a long-lost friend who had moved far away many years ago. The friend wrote of her own journey through loss and hope, and her admiration for Margaret's unwavering strength in a world often indifferent to the subtleties of the human spirit. The letter spoke of renewed faith, of finding beauty in quiet perseverance, and of the timeless truth that every ending leads to a new beginning. Inspired by the heartfelt words, Margaret decided it was time to share the wisdom that had accumulated in her life. She began to write a memoir, a collection of stories about love, sorrow, and the quiet miracles that life offered at every turn. In its pages, she chronicled the serendipitous meeting with Charlie and the domino effect of compassion that had rippled outward, touching the lives of strangers and friends alike. Her words were simple, yet they carried the weight of truth that only comes from living through life's exquisite ups and downs. The process of writing became a cathartic journey in itself. Every page was a tribute to the immeasurable impact that one life or one loyal friend could have. In those reflective hours at her desk, Margaret felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the happy moments, but also for the painful ones that had taught her about forgiveness, resilience, and the transformative power of unconditional love. One day, as Margaret was finalizing a chapter of her memoir, Charlie laid his head on her lap in a familiar gesture of quiet comfort. In that tender moment, as she petted the soft fur of a friend who had been there through so many seasons, she realized that this was not just a story of loss or recovery, it was a testament to the beauty of life itself. The memories of past sorrows, the lessons of shared moments, and the hope of new beginnings converged into a single, radiant truth that love, in all its forms, is the most powerful force in the universe. Margaret's memoir, once published, touched the hearts of many. Readers found solace in her words and inspiration in her journey. The simple narrative of a woman and her dog, of fragile beginnings and triumphant perseverance, resonated deeply with those who had also faced life's unexpected detours. In the letters and notes she received, people shared how her story had rekindled their own hopes, urging them to seek beauty in every shared smile, every act of kindness, and every small step toward healing. On a warm autumn day, as the leaves turned to hues of gold and crimson once more, Margaret looked out at her porch with a smile. Next to her sat Charlie, now older and gentler in his movements, a quiet reminder that the passage of time only deepened the love that binds two souls together. In the laughter of children playing in the yard and the soft murmur of neighbors exchanging greetings, she saw a reflection of the enduring spirit of community and the beauty of enduring connections. Margaret's heart no longer ached from the solitude of loss. Instead, it blossomed with each shared moment, a memoir, a walk, a letter, and the silent, unfaltering presence of a beloved dog. She learned that life was meant to be lived with open arms, to welcome both sorrow and joy, pain and laughter, loss and new beginnings. And in that mingling of emotions, there was a quiet grace that illuminated even the darkest corners of life. As twilight surrendered to night, Margaret leaned back in her favorite chair, a sense of deep contentment enveloping her soul. Beside her, Charlie slept soundly, his gentle rhythm a steady reminder that love never truly fades. It evolves, it endures, and it whispers a promise of hope with every new dawn. In her heart, Margaret knew that while chapters of life may close, the story of human connection and the unyielding loyalty of a dog would forever remain a beacon of hope for anyone willing to trust in the beauty of ordinary moments. And so, under that expansive, starlit sky, the gentle cadence of a life well lived echoed softly in the stillness of the night, a timeless testament that even in the face of loss, love could heal, bring joy, and inspire a new chapter of grace. From the tender first encounter, through reflections on memory and loss, to the life lessons of loyalty and the eventual dawn of a new chapter, we witness a journey that touches the heart and affirms that every soul, human or canine, has a story worth cherishing. The bond between Margaret and Charlie reminds us that true companionship often comes unbidden, quietly weaving threads of hope into the fabric of our everyday lives.